Hey folks, Mr. Bowtie here. Keep banging home that subscribe button on your screen so that way you can stay up to date on all the great area high school and local sports coverage TV, radio, and cheap web streams refuse to cover. And check out my Twitter at Mr. Bowtie 1982. It's fast, it's free, and the UIL will love you if you do it. Thanks so much and enjoy the show.
First step, see how deep I am? Cross, boom. I got 3 and 3. That'd be like the example would be a 3 and hold. But if your first step, and this is the thing you got to get yourself out of, a lot of y'all's first step is right there. You're stepping away, and you haven't even gotten off the ball yet. You got me?
Last year was the first year, I think you said, in almost 50 years that you weren't playing or coaching. Was there any Friday where you just kind of habitually got up, put the coaching gear on, and was like, oh wait, I'm not coaching?
I didn't do that, but I can tell you right now, about December, I guess the old coaching itch got there come playoff time. I can't say honestly that I didn't miss it, because you don't do something that you love for that long, and just all of a sudden it's just over with, and you kind of got that built-in clock, the way that you work, and the way that you get up in the morning, and the way that you're kind of the same place every single 30 minutes of the day during the months of August through hopefully deep into December. I always used to tell people that if anybody ever wanted to take out a football coach, they'd always know where to find him, because he has he has a schedule that is on point every day.
A little strange not having to get up at 4:30 for a 5:30 a.m. practice up at Westlake.
I don't necessarily miss that. I mean, that was my idea to do that, and it was great for us. But I can tell you right now, I am not biologically, or whatever that word is, I am not a morning person by nature. I'm more of a night owl. So it's been nice to get a little extra sleep.
Get back to all that in a second. But the second year you've been here in San Antonio, I was here last year, and boy, it looks almost like double compared to what you have. I mean, I know it'll obviously continue to get bigger, if anything else, because Todd Dodge is a name synonymous in Texas. It has to feel good to get all these, get more and more coming out every year.
I've got 7 coaches from Northeast ISD, one coach from each school. Got some other guys that have worked with me at Westlake that are working the camp. But this thing grew by almost 58 campers from this time last year. And I'm just so thankful. It's one that I can tell you right now, all of San Antonio, we will be back next year, and hopefully for many years to come.
What's the one thing you hope they'll take at least from their time the last few days with you?
Well, for the quarterbacks is accuracy. I mean, if you really want to break it down, the one thing is I hope that we're helping a guy be more accurate. There's a whole lot of things we're teaching them. And then for a receiver, his ball skills, okay? And when the ball touches his skin, that he comes down with it. So, and there's a lot of things that go into that, and there's a lot of drills. One of the things that we've told these kids, and we tell them every time they come, for every one drill that I do, there's 100 of them out there that's on TikTok and all the places, and they're all good stuff. But when you come to camp, it's my goal as the guy who runs this camp and has been doing it for a long time, is that you get better. I don't want to just be a guy that just takes people's money. I want to make sure it means a lot for us. So we can't be changing drills day in and day out. We've got to stay consistent over a 3-day period. I'm looking at these kids right now. It doesn't even look like the same group from Monday, which was 48 hours ago.
I know every camp is different, whether it's in Austin here or down in Gregory, Portland, but what kind of makes this camp a little different than those others? Because again, we know football in every city can be a little bit different.
Yeah, well, this is one that, God, we're getting kids from such a vast variety of schools, small schools, 6A schools. I've got kids from the state of Arkansas here this week. I got kids from the state of Indiana that just saw our deal on the website and traveled here to San Antonio. And then the other thing this is the biggest camp that I've put together, where I've got rising 5th through 12th graders all out here in one place. Of course, they're all in their own separate drills, but this coaching staff is doing a fabulous job. We've got 16 coaches working it with about 158 kids. Our goal is always to keep a 1-to-10 ratio. So as the years go on, the coaches that send their kids, the parents who send their kids, they know that their quarterback or their receiver is not going to stand in line a long time. They're going to get work.
Yeah, a lot of these players, they know the name Todd Dodge. They've seen you on television. The coaches obviously have seen you. But how do you kind of break it down to where we know about Todd Dodge, one of the greatest coaches of all time, but he's still just a regular coach, and it kind of feels like it's just kind of like Todd Dodge is almost just like anybody else out there?
Well, the thing about it, I've been very blessed to coach some really good players and to have some really good coaches around me. And we're able to win some state championships. I can tell you right now, there's some coaches across the state of Texas that have never won a state championship that are a lot better coach than I am. I can tell you that. It's a lot of times it's all about just developing players, and it's all about when you have. I think one of the things that we did at Westlake and at Southlake is when we had really good teams, as far as the production of those teams, we didn't waste them. We usually hit home with really good teams and won championships with them.
Westlake's long win streak finally came to an end against North Shore. North Shore probably could have beat the Houston Texans last year if they had played them. But we saw Vandergrift get to the final. We saw Wimberley get to the final. We saw Bernie and Polk down here get to the final. I know you always are a Westlake guy first, but at the same time, it feels good when you're seeing a lot of these local teams in the area that are finally getting to the finals.
Yeah, I know a lot of people from Bernie have competed, had kids from camp come from Bernie, so I was thrilled to watch them in the state championship. Poth, the coaches have been so good to send their kids. We've got some kids from Poth that are here today, and just was thrilled to watch them. The Westlake, the run that we had at Westlake, it's still going. I mean, you got one loss in 50. It was, I guess, Westlake's 53-1 over the last 3 years. So Tony and those guys are doing great. I can't wait to go watch them play this fall.
Yeah, I got to see Westlake a couple times. That epic against Dripping Springs, where that was the best defensive effort anybody had against Westlake in the last 4 years. I know you had mentioned last year about trying to give Tony his space, but how did you kind of work with him a little bit when he took over the reins of the sports car, so to speak?
Well, I didn't wait till we had made the change. I started to this plan with Tony and I had started some 3 to 4 to 5 years ago. Between he and I in our private conversations, he knew and I knew that when I left that I was going to spend this time grooming him and getting him ready to be a head coach. Because a lot of people say, well, that's a big job to take over in your first head coaching job. It is. There's a lot of responsibility. However, I felt like Tony was absolutely ready from a leadership standpoint, and then just being able to get him in front of the media, get him in front of parent groups, get him in speaking opportunities, and so he's fabulous. He's like family to me, and I'm so proud of him.
Yeah, and it's just kind of fun seeing this area grow. I know last year the North went 9-1 in the state finals. The South kind of took their lumps, but it just kind of feels like we've talked about so many times over the years, where Austin is not just Westlake and Lake Travis anymore, but it's kind of so much, and hopefully we're beginning to see San Antonio finally getting back on track.
Well, I can tell you this. I love the city of San Antonio. I've never actually lived here, but just got a lot of friends that are here, competed against San Antonio the last 5 years. There's great football. There's tremendous coaches in this area, just such professionals in this area. So, but it is the growth. I mean, where there's growth, there's going to be production. You see it in Austin. You see it in the north side of San Antonio. Wherever there's been growth. But the Austin, San Antonio area over the last 10 years is just like grown just a great deal in the production of wins in the game of football.